Wendy Way.
My name is Isabel Garcia Schmidt.
And we are Logs of Mill Moves. And we are here today with Marty and James from Joint Task Force 214.
We just want to say thanks to Joint Task Force 214 and specifically Marty and James. We ran through some coaching. We were ready to pitch, and the results speak for themselves.
We won. Logs of Mill Moves is on the rise. Household packing for military families, a better quality of life. Thank you, guys.
When you see a veteran wearing that new outfit, he feels like $1 million. Giving back is key for me, quite frankly. We did an event called Suiting Our Heroes, where we invited everybody to come in and basically donate their gently used suit. Because there's a lot of veterans out there, to be quite frank, that can't even afford a suit. So what we did was we had the community get involved, giving food, giving some soft drinks, and basically come out and donate your gently used suit. What we did with those suits is we went ahead and gave them to veterans that couldn't afford any because they're gently used. We had them tailored. We donated a shirt and tie to go with that. And guess what? When you see a veteran wearing that new outfit, he feels like $1 million. And he knows he can go out there for the next chapter of his life and feel confident about that.
Oh, what is that thing? What is that you have on? Did A-Rod get you that thing?
I can't say whether or not it's an A-Rod salute to suit special, but it is special. I'm just saying.
Man, I tell you what, I'm a little jealous. I didn't get the memo. I'm sitting over here wearing kind of Air Force blue in honor of our legend today. And then you're over here with Santa Claus actual, was that sunglasses too?
Yeah. I think A-Rod would be happy with it. I think he would say, when you see Marty in this suit, he looked like $1 million. So.
You know what? That's next year, A-Rod. Let's do a actual Christmas suit, holiday suit. Let's do that. That's a good idea.
So this is our last one of the year. Can't believe this is our last one, episode 38. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We're here. I can't believe it. And we're ending it with a great legend this week.
Hey, you know, I don't know if our legend knows this, but today was supposed to be we were going to run 2 reruns. We were going to run a rerun this weekend and next week on next Wednesday, but we had to make room for this legend today. Absolutely had to, because it's the impact that they're doing, and they have some serious celebrations to be in order right now.
Because who is our legend this week? Is it Eric Brew?
No, I think no. Actually, Eric Brew's the first episode in January. Sorry, Eric, but no. On a serious note, you know, they're doing some amazing things. We don't want to get into that quite yet, but I do want to say one thing, if I can, Marty. I need to give a shout out to 2 of our biggest fans and biggest supporters since we started in April. I need to give Nick Feltz a Merry Christmas, and I hope you're doing well. And then, unfortunately, my uncle was just admitted into the hospital yesterday. So I get some prayers for him. Vietnam veteran. He's one of our big supporters that's been out every week. So I do want to send a shout out to him and Nick. You know, Nick is recovering as well. So hope you all are doing well, and hopefully you can get home and have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, prayers for Uncle Roy and for Nick.
Absolutely.
So appreciate that. No, we've been at a very blessed year. We've had a lot of firsts as we kicked off the show. The show just started in April, and so it's kind of crazy. But and I know one of the things that happened in 2020 as we went through a lot of changes, that's where our guest this week, Brian Arrington, started the vest industry, started getting this thing going. This we talk about Leviathan projects, his Leviathan projects of vets to industry and helping people transition. And it's he's got a full-time job on top of this too. So I mean, it's pretty interesting of all the stuff that he's doing.
We finally found somebody that's probably busier than you and I. I don't know how he can juggle all the things, his family life, the vets to industry, his other, I mean, just the things that he is able to do. But the thing that I will say that, and we'll get into it when he gets on here, just the power of his leadership and the team that he has. I mean, it's the team that I have to give him I got to give the Air Force some credit. I guess they taught him well in the Air Force about how to grow a team, because the team that he has is just absolutely amazing. They just hit 60. Well, actually, they're over 60,000 followers on LinkedIn. I think they're like at 60,400 and something. I mean, they're just exploding.
Yeah. Yeah. And you definitely see it. And you see that you see with him the NCO leadership coming out as he's in every room doing the spot checks. But enough about us. Yeah. People want to see about him. So let's bring him in. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go, Army. Wrong screen. What happened?
Oh,
I told you.
Hey guys. Surprise.
Hey, welcome, brother. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And on holidays too. It's great.
Yeah.
I like the colors there. Did you notice? Little Air Force.
Yeah, you're rocking the Air Force blue.
Had to.
Oh,
so it's good. Like, I was thinking, what to dress as, and I went with my normal outfit, the vest industry hat.
You went with your superhero suit.
Yeah.
We were correctly here, 60K and growing each week.
Yeah. Thank you, Whole Cyber. Yeah. So, living the dream, doing my V2I nights and on the weekends, and working during the day for Wells Fargo. So, crushing it, doing what I can. And thankfully, I have this amazing team behind me that's just crushing life.
Right.
This is amazing.
So,
go ahead, Marty. Sorry.
So before we get into crushing life and the team and all that, where did all this start? I mean, back when you were growing up, what did you grow up in an Air Force family?
Oh no.
How did you grow up? What led you into choosing the wrong branch and going into the Air Force?
Well, it was it's kind of a twofold thing. One, I was going to college in Manhattan. I'm from New York, White Plains, New York. And I was going to college in Manhattan at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. So any John Jay College individuals out there, whoop, whoop. And so I was going to school there. I was in my second year. And my parents had this wacky idea that they were just going to up and move to the Gambia in Africa. In my second year of school, I was living at home. And of course, I wasn't having any of that. And they said, well, we're going to take a trip over there, see if we like it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So they come back, and about a month later and said, yeah, we're definitely moving there. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, I'm a New York kid. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving to Africa. Like, this isn't coming to America. It's not going to happen. Well, 3 months later, the house was sold, the cars were sold, and they were dipping and said, you want to come with me? I'm like, heck no, I'm not going to Africa. I live in New York. Like, what? No, it's not going to happen. So they left, they dipped, and they sent me to live out in Long Island with our family attorney and his family, who I barely even knew. So I was mad.
Yeah.
So I was already going to school, right? My parents had left enough money for me to do that. And so I was like, how can I get back at them? And that was all I was thinking of. Now, this is 1999. So this is pre-war, right?
Right.
And so I went into school right before we hit winter break. and I asked my friends, hey, what do you think about, the Navy or the Air Force? Because, I had seen movies and I was not about to live in a tent or, live in mud, stuff like that. I cared about quality of life. I wasn't trying to hurt myself. I was just trying to piss off my mom and dad. So, I wasn't trying to hurt this guy.
Rash now, people. Let's not be rash.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm doing a short stint and just to make them mad, not to hurt this guy. So I asked my friends. I had a clique of about five friends, and they said definitely Air Force. I said, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because I don't know how to swim. So I don't think the Navy is right for me. Plus, I don't want to be out on sea for 6 months. That just sounds horrific. I don't even go out on boats. So why would I join the Navy?
Right.
And so I said, you know what? The Air Force stays on land. I'm not going to be a pilot. That's what, damn sure. So it's like, yeah, Air Force doesn't sound bad at all. And the only reference to the Air Force I had ever known about was Iron Eagle growing up as a kid.
Oh, jeez.
So that's the only reference point I had. Nobody in my family was military. So that spring break, I came back. I had decided, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just sign up. And I was really in great shape. Ran cross country in college and high school. And so I went down to the recruiter station in Long Island. I said, hey, I want to sign up and I want to do special forces. And his eyes just lighten up. He said, oh, I got something great for you. I said, yeah, I want to wear a beret. I want to, be physical, all that. So this Air Force recruiter sits me down on this couch and he puts on this VCR recording. Okay. That's how they got me. And it was a video of an Air Force security forces person on an ATV in the woods. I don't know if any of you who saw this back in the late 90s. All right, this is how they hooked you. And rappelling from a helicopter. And I'm like, that's it. That's what I want to do. They got a beret? Yep, that's me. Because that's all I knew, right? Special forces wear a beret. So that's what I wanted. Did not realize that what I was signing up for was as far away from special forces as you could possibly get. So he was signing me up to be a military cop in the Air Force, which he was. So this guy who knew what I was signing up for was getting me into his quota book. And I don't remember his name at all, but man, this guy, if I ever saw him again, I'd be like, you're good. You're really good. So ended up signing up, and I went down to basic and tech school, and I get back from the academy, get to my first base, McGuire, and what I find myself doing, instead of rappelling from helicopters and riding ATVs in the woods, I get put right on the gate first day, had no idea what I was doing. And my tech sergeant, my E6, says, okay, just let people in. Make sure you're waving the right stickers in, because back then there was no IDs. It was just making sure you salute the right sticker and making sure the years were right on the vehicle, because you were letting vehicles in. You weren't letting people in.
Right.
You were letting vehicles in. That's how bad it was back then. So that's my entrance into the military.
But did he do like a terrible job? Because if you think about it, I mean, you already said you didn't want to go Marines and Army because you didn't want to get dirty. And so he was like, does this kid really want to rappel and be in the ATV? You said you want to go special forces. He got you technically SF is what you got. So, I mean, he wasn't that far off the mark.
No, the worst part was when I was in basic training, they had asked people to try out for TAC-P, which is, Air Force's closest, other than combat controllers, to special forces. And a couple of the guys who were in the best shape, were like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, I'm not trying out for TAC-P. I'm going security forces. Like, heck no. Not knowing what the heck TAC-P was.
To be fair, to be fair, though, you know, my dad was Air Force, so I grew up on several Air Force bases. I thought they were amazing, you know, because you all at the gate, you did the best salutes, you had the beret. I was like, that's what I want to do. So just to be fair, I did tell my dad when I was growing up I wanted to be SF. I didn't realize that it was just, you know, the military police part of it.
Yeah,
but,
I got really good at this.
That's one thing that I'm telling you, that's squared away. And you always had the best softball teams, basketball teams, intramural teams, and you'd always beat like CE and the rest of the base. You always did.
We used to make games out of who could do the best salutes and entries into the base. So we like walking up, you know, do like a really hard salute or really hard get in and like try to challenge each other to see who was best at it. Like it became a game at the gate to keep ourselves occupied. So bad.
Well, it worked. I wanted to do that. I was like, if I can't be a fighter pilot, I want to be an SP. And I well, you know, to this day, maybe I should have done that, Marty.
Your life would have turned out a little bit differently.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would have had 3 meals a day, a warm bed, all those things that you said you didn't like. I would have had all those things. I messed up.
So how long did you do that?
So about 3.5 years. Well, I should say 2 years until September 11th happened. And September 11th changed everything. Because remember, I signed up during peacetime. Like,
right.
But because I had such a connection in New York, you know, New York City was my playground.
Right.
And my brother, who's not my biological brother, but he was, you know, like my older brother growing up. He was at the towers when they collapsed, and he was saved by a smoke break. He dove into one of the delis as everything was falling down, and he was stuck in there for quite a few hours with some other people. And so I didn't find this out till about 16 hours later,
Wow.
that day. And of course, I was on Fort Dix. We were doing a training exercise, and we get the call. You know, the first plane hit. They stopped us on the firing line and said, "Hey, you know, the first, you know, the tower got hit, and I think it's like a small plane or something." We're like, damn, you know. And then, you know, we kept firing and whatnot, and then boom, second plane hit, and they said, "McGuire, Dover, you've just been recalled." And so we jump on the deuces, and, you know, Dover's going back to the dorms to get their stuff. They just beeline us right back to base because, you know, it's like a couple minutes away. And we get into the gate, and we see everything's different. Like people at the gate are wearing helmets and flak vests. We're like, what the heck's going on? But, you know, we had them on ourselves because we were just at the range. We just didn't have any live ammunition. And they took us right to the armory, loaded us up, put us right in front of the squadron. And all the officers and the senior NCOs were running around trying to find the threat condition Delta. It was ThreatCon back then. Threat condition Delta, like books. Like, what do we do? Because right now we're in the middle of the Pentagon, because the Pentagon got hit while we're traveling to McGuire from Dix, and nobody had ever seen that book in years. So they were literally dusting off this book and trying to figure out what to do. So they started putting us out in sentries and stuff. So that really created the reason why I re-enlisted, because I was up for re-enlistment, you know, about a year later. And I made E5 at 3.5 years in. So I made below the zone. So I made E4 really quickly. And so I said, you know, maybe this is what's right. And I found Security Forces Raven, which was, you know, a really great tool kit that we were given an ability to travel the world to austere environments and secure locations. And so I just stayed in, and then that 4 years became 9 years. And I was like, man, do I get out at 9 or do I stay for 20? And everybody told me when I was at 3 years that I was going to be career. I was like, heck no, I'm not going to be career. And I did 20 years, 1 month, and 12 days. So that's how I stayed in. Now, I did try to get out of security forces multiple times in my career. They never let me out. Have you tried going officer?
Did you try to get out like Corporal Klinger tried to get out, or you?
No, I tried to test my way out. Tried to, I even almost went to Air Force Institute of Technology, but I had already gotten into a master's program at Thomas Edison, and AFIT was a potential, but it wasn't a guarantee. So I turned down the testing for AFIT, and that would have gotten me out of security forces. But it's a dog-eat-dog world in that world.
Yeah, sure. So as you were going through the ranks in your 20-year career, especially in this world, I think you're our first security forces, SP, MP. So as you're going through this, what was your biggest challenge? Was it as a leader of your own forces, or as enforcing the standards with the military, or enforcing the standards with the dependents? Or, I mean, because this thing has got to be so challenging for you, especially not having the rank.
You will see. So, Air Force gets joked on, a little bit, right, by the other branches. And then even within the Air Force, we get joked on, just like the Marines get joked on, kind of being the gorillas of the branches. The Air Force security forces kind of gets joked on the same way, like we're cavemen. So it was almost like, being in a weird world where you're pretty smart. You're was working on my second and third master's degree, but here, living in a community where like, oh, they're cops. What do they know? Or they're not really cops. They don't really, they have no authority. People find that out last minute by accident. Because when they get apprehended, and they realize that we will take them to off base departments, and they get charged, and they have to actually appear in court, like real court. They're like, whoa, okay, how'd that happen?
I mean, if you think about it, like even all the branches when it comes to military police, you're giving someone that just graduated basic training some serious power, right? You pull over a general, a colonel, a chief master sergeant, a sergeant major. I mean, I don't know how I would be able to do that. I'd be like, hey, sir, hey, ma'am, we're going to go ahead and let this one slide today. So, I mean, you have a lot of power in the military.
That happened at times, of course. But I remember one instance where I had an officer come up to our gate. I was an E3, and they forgot their ID card, and he was wanting to go to the gym. And I said, "Sorry, sir, without an ID card, I can't let you come on base." This was after September 11th, and he said, just let me go, man. I'm just going to the gym. And I said, "No, sir, I'm sorry, I can't." And he reached his fist up and hit it down in his gym bag. I said, "I just want to go. Let me get on this blank base." And I said, "Sir, you're gonna have to turn around." And so he did that, and he stopped there. I actually stopped him. And I said, "Sir, do you know what conduct unbecoming is?" And his face just shrunk, and he said, "I'm so sorry." and he left. But I felt so good. I still remember that to this day. Like,
Wow.
how ballsy was his E3?
I mean, it takes some guts with it. My question, because, having a little bit of law enforcement experience. So you can tell us the secret. 1 mile over the speed limit. How come Air Force SPs pull you over and give you a ticket 1 mile over the speed limit? Come on.
Because we're bored.
Yeah. I used to, but seriously, we joke around, but I can tell you one thing I can say that from my experience, and I'm just basing this as an opinion, the Air Force SP security force, they were like stricter than the MPs that we had dealt with at a fort. Because I mean, if you went 3 miles over the speed limit, you were getting a ticket. I remember that.
It all depends too. Because like for me, I refused to be hypocritical. So like I would pull somebody over for, going through a stoplight, right? Or something like that, because that's something I won't do. Or speeding in, the base housing. But if they're like, 5 miles over the speed limit or 6, I wouldn't pull them over, because I have I tend to go 5 miles or more over the speed limit. So it all depends on the individual too.
So what we're going to say from Brian's SME.
Hey, there's no statute of limitations now. Okay.
But I'm going to say, so we're driving on an Air Force post. We're going to say Brian said it's authorized that we can drive 5 miles. No. Come on.
So I'm safe from any past indiscretions.
So what, Brian? So what was your favorite duty assignment? You talked about a few of those things. What was your favorite base? It's hard for me to say base. I guess if
we have bases.
Yeah,
Air Force has bases. They're not like luxury lounges or Ritz Carltons, though we stay at them. That's not our permanent stations. Honestly, the place where I would spend the most amount of time, that was 13 years at McGuire, because I was so close to home. I traveled up there, saw my friends from high school, all the time, and it was just great being there. The last 7 years in the service, I bounced around so much that it made up for those 13 years just being stagnant at one base. Donnell Jones or John said the only ticket I received is on an Air Force base. Sorry, Donnell.
You mean the sergeant major got a ticket on an Air Force base?
That must have been Private John.
Was he a sergeant major at the time?
I was going to say that must have been Private John's.
It's a better story if Sergeant Major John's got the ticket.
Probably trying to flash his pearly whites and like ain't happening.
Yeah. So that's the story.
And I'm sticking to it.
A little winded.
So now you've got Vets to Industry going on. Before we get to that, what kind of set you up for this? As you were getting out of the military, there was some things, how did your transition go? Obviously it was enough. And Donnell did confirm he was a sergeant major. Knew it. I knew it.
Well, so it's like two storylines going on at the same time. I'm transitioning from the military. 2018 is when I started my transition journey. I retired 1 July 2019. So March 2018 is when I fell into transitioning, when I accidentally fell into it. And at the same time, I accidentally fell into this thing called Veteran Service Organizations, where I learned about it because I started my transition. And then it's like two branches on the same tree. Right. They just started going like this, but they were going at the same time, but two different pathways that I was doing at the same time. One, I was trying to figure out how to land a career, and I was gaining mentors and going to career fairs and doing everything that every service member is freaked out about and trying to not mess up. And I messed up a ton. which even affects me now. And I can't wait to tell people about what not to do, unless they've already done it, and then just say it's rough, but here are some fixes to that that'll soften the blow that I've come up with. And then the transitioning or the support and creation of Vets to Industry happened while I was transitioning too. And I was told by some leaders in the space, some influencers, that I can't do both at the same time. I can't help people while I'm transitioning myself. And I always tell people when they say I can't do something, I say, hold my rip it and watch me do it. And that's what I did. And I created a global nonprofit at the same time that I was transitioning myself. And I landed successfully in a very lucrative career. At the same time, built a global nonprofit that has just soared in the last 3 years, with an amazing team behind it. So don't let people tell you can't do something, because I was able to help people get careers while I still hadn't even transitioned out the military yet, myself. So
let's do this. Let's pause right there and cut to commercial, and then when we get back, let's get deep into Vets to Industry, pull those knowledge bombs out, and get into that. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
You're watching the Lounge with Legends TV show with your hosts, Marty Martinez and James A. Phelps.
All right. There's James again. I just wanted to do one commercial very quick to break it up, but I didn't want to waste much time because I really want to unpack all the great things you have. So if you're just tuned in, we got Brian Arrington, Vets to Industry, just talked about his regret for not becoming Army Airborne Ranger, his time in the Air Force, and how he started Vets to Industry. So now we're going to really get into, what is Vets to Industry, his knowledge nuggets for all those transitioning servicemen and women out there. So turning it over to you, Brian.
Yeah. So let me explain a little bit about what Vets to Industry is for those who are tuning in, have no clue what the heck it is. We're also known as V2I. So if you ever hear V2I, there is a company called V2I, but it's what we call Vets to Industry for short. Especially if you're on LinkedIn, you can see V2I. That's usually Vets to Industry. Well, one thing Vets to Industry is a free resource library, listing over 1,000 free resources in a single site repository. And they are all for service members that are still serving, veterans and transitioning service members, military spouses, dependent children, Gold Star family members, and caregivers. All of these resources are categorized. They're sorted by location as well. So if you're in a specific state and like, what resources are near me, or maybe you're about to get out the military and trying to decide what is the location that you want to live at, you can go and see what kind of resources there that will help your family out. Now, there's tons of resources that work online nationwide as well. So you don't have to be in a specific state to utilize them. Some you do, but some will allow you to utilize the resources no matter where you are in the U.S. So our resource library breaks that down, tells you which ones are online so you can use them nationwide, and others that are just maybe one state or maybe a few states or in a region that you can utilize. And they range from scholarships and financial assistance to homelessness to mental health support, to pet adoptions, free PTSD service animals, communities, and just so much more. So that's what the Vets Industry website is built on. It also has tons of transition articles and assistance for you to get knowledgeable, along with cheat sheets and things of that nature, which will help you build your LinkedIn profile and can teach you how to navigate the transitioning process. Next thing is when COVID happened, I got upset just like I did when I found out that there was over 45,000 veteran service organizations nationwide that provided free resources and support to us and our family members. So I'm telling you, there's 45,000 plus. Now, not all of them are credible, reliable. Some of them might be piranhas. And that's why Vets Industry takes its time going and finding every single resource we can and vetting them before we put them on the library of resources. Nice. So I have like a whole military intelligence team that sole job is to vet and find these resources. But we have it opened up to the community. So if the community goes to our services website or services page, they can actually drop in the URL and a little description about a resource that's near them or that they've used, and it'll go right to my military intelligence team, who then will do the research and due diligence on the organization, check out the owners and the founders, and the BBB rating and Charity Navigator, Guide Star, or whatever else works or needs to be done. And if it passes the smell test and it's got good testimonials and things of that nature, we will put it onto the website as a new free resource. So the community can actually participate in expanding the library as well. So that's where I really like that feature. So the next thing that we do is where I got really upset was when COVID struck. Everything was getting canceled. So think back to March of 2020. I'm very active in Atlanta with the Vetlanta community. So if you're in Georgia, make sure you get connected to Vetlanta. All right. It's not a nonprofit. It's not a for-profit. It's a community, but it brings you together with companies. It brings you together with nonprofits. It brings you together with a community to engage and talk and get better, and brings veteran-owned businesses and spouse-owned businesses together. It's wonderful. So I was very active in Vetlanta. I was a 4-block alum, which I'll talk about in a little bit, Bunker Labs alum, and all of the events that would bring transitioning service members and veterans to meet hiring managers, along with mil spouses, meeting hiring managers and recruiters and business owners in the same space to meet and get opportunities at their feet, were all getting canceled. But we still had transitioning service members and families. So what are they going to do? So that's a week and a half after I found out that basically all the events were getting canceled. Actually, that night, I came up with the Vets Industry Virtual Networking Circuit event. And this was an accidental idea. Had no idea it was going to blow up the way it did, where most people actually identify us as a networking organization and not the resource library, which I built first, which is what we are. And just the networking event is something we happen to do also. And so these networking events bring together Fortune 500 companies from around the country that also have opportunities overseas, because a lot of service members who are overseas want to stay overseas. So there's opportunities for them to do that as well if they come to our events and find those companies that are offering opportunities. Same with military spouses. If they want to stay overseas and work, they can find opportunities as well at our events. And then we also bring veteran service organizations along with universities and colleges, because not everybody's goal or desire after they get done with the military service is to go to work or employment. They might want to go to school, or they might want to do both, go to school and to work. So we bring them to a spot, a place where they can meet admissions counselors or different universities and colleges, so they can learn about different degree programs and sign up or get communicated with, and also get close to the recruiters and get them on their in their network, so they can follow up with calls during the week and potentially gain career with them, or interviews and careers with them. The last thing that we do is webinars. And these webinars, what we do is we partner with Fortune companies and all the way down. As of right now, we've only partnered with Fortune companies, but we're open to partner with any company that would like to sponsor the event. And what they'll do is they will teach a specific career tool. We've done salary negotiation. We've done interviewing techniques. We've done financial literacy. We've done dress for success with A-Rod from Salute to Suit. We've actually done that twice. It's been a hit each time. So we'll put on these 1 hour events where people can not just learn about a career tool that's important to them, but they'll also learn about the company if they're hiring, be able to ask questions and answers, and even turn in resumes to that company and be able to tell them they met at the Vets Industry event, which will give them a little plus up for potential interviews and things of that nature. So there's a lot to say about what we do, but we also provide some mentorship and guidance through our resource library. If somebody needs a little more assistance in kind of guiding their pathway, depending on where they are in their transition journey. So whether or not you're 2 years or 3 years out to getting out this week, which I'm working with a couple people who just reached out to me this week, had no idea about a lot of resources or anything that existed, and I'm helping them out in private message to try to get them engaged in as many resources as they can that they're eligible for right now before they get out. So some big resources I'd like to tell people about. Actually, before I do that, one thing that we're doing is a huge contest right now. So I want to say this before I forget. So we've partnered with Boots to Books. So Boots, then TO Books. I want to make sure you all know that and find that on LinkedIn. So if you go to their LinkedIn page and their posts from yesterday, you'll actually see the big contest rules. We're giving away over $4,000 in prizes. The big prize that Vets Industry is giving out is a $100 Visa gift card, plus 2 apparel items to 2 different winners, apparel items of your choice. We're also giving away 4 coins and gift bags to people. A bunch of IT certifications are getting given away as well. So there's tons of things going on. So if you go to my post from yesterday, Brian Arrington on LinkedIn, and I'm sure that the LinkedIn URL will be posted after in the show notes, or Boots to Books LinkedIn page from their post yesterday. It'll actually give you instructions on the Google form to go to read the contest rules, and also to fill out the Google form with the answers that you come up with to be enrolled in the entry. You can get up to 3 entries into this contest, which we'll announce January 4th who all the winners are. It's not just one winner. There's going to be tons of winners. So put your name in, try to get it in 3 times into the coffer there. All right. And so that's the contest. Now let me tell you all about some of the resources that you probably have never heard of before. So first one I want to talk about is one that's in Georgia, but it's open to everyone nationwide. It's called Emory Healthcare. It's specifically to help those that have PTSD or a TBI, and it's for service members and veterans. And what they do is they provide free travel both ways to Atlanta, provide free lodging, and also free meals for a 2-week treatment in Atlanta. And they'll also provide some financial assistance for utilities if being away from home for 2 weeks is a financial burden. They'll also provide some assistance for that. But they're amazing. Emory Healthcare does so much good. And again, it's open to anybody that is in the continental U.S. that needs that support, that therapy. They do different types of therapy for over the 2-week time frame. Beyond the uniform. Now, these are all listed on our website, so you can type them in and go right to their website from our website. So Beyond the Uniform provides webinars galore for transitioning, success, and career decision making. They have tons of webinars on there. Next thing is the National Association of State Women Veteran Coordinators. Now, what's cool about these people is that they have a state coordinator, a women veteran coordinator in every single state in the U.S. So if you get involved with this organization and it lists who your representative is in every state and reach out to them, they're going to know about additional resources that Vets to Industry doesn't even have on their website. So connect with them and see if there's resources specifically for you as a woman veteran in that state. Now, this is one that a lot of people know about, but a lot of people don't. And so if you're within a year of getting out the military, there's a mentorship platform or organization called American Corporate Partners. And American Corporate Partners provides a free year of mentorship from a executive or business leader. It can either be military or civilian, but they've been in the industry for a very long time. You get to decide who you want to be paired up with based on your desired choice of industry, your desired choice of if they're a civilian or a prior military member, even age. You can do that as well. And they will find you a match. Now, if you specifically put down, and this is important, that you found out about American Corporate Partners from Vets to Industry in the dropdown, they will give you a priority placement that very same day. So within a day to 2 days, you will get a notification from a liaison at American Corporate Partners, and they will put you in front of the list. That's a partnership we have with American Corporate Partners. Next thing is I want to talk to you all about is Veterati. So Veterati is a mentorship application where you can connect to 1 to a billion individuals to mentor you for an hour time frame. And you can continue this mentorship like weekly or daily with that individual, or you can make new mentorship calls with additional mentors on different topics, whatever you want to talk about. And they will set up the call. It'll be a call bridge line that calls you and calls the mentor after you set up the time and date that the mentor is free. You can also become a mentor yourself if you feel like after you've done it a few times and you've gained mastery of some kind of skill or some knowledge in a specific area that you can provide back to mentees that are looking for that knowledge. You can sign up as a mentor yourself. So a lot of Vets Industry volunteers are on Veterati. That's actually how we track our hours of mentorship and help. Matter of fact, my vice president of Vets Industry, Bruce Thompson, has over 800 hours mentorship. He is double the second person in the world on Veterati. So check him out. All right. Next thing is 4-block. So if you are getting out, and especially within that 180 days, or you're a veteran who's already gotten out, you're going to want to sign up for 4-block. And what 4-block does is it connects you with those Fortune 100 companies every week. And you think you don't have time for this. I thought the same thing when I was going through my 2 master's classes at the same time. And when you get on there, when you get into 4-block, you're going to realize it opens up doors to the floors at businesses like Coca-Cola and Comcast and Cox and Verizon and T-Mobile and Delta and all sorts, depending on what region you're in, that you could not get into the first floor with. And they bring you up to their C-suite levels and executive levels, and you get to talk to hiring managers and recruiters at these locations and get to put your best foot forward. And they teach you career tools every week along with that. 4-block is imperative. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you sign up. Then there's Bunker Labs. For any entrepreneurs out there, Bunker Labs is a great first step. You're going to go there. It's like an incubator in a sense, where they teach you the basics of starting a business, how to find financing. They find resources in your local community. So depending on what region within the country, I believe there are 21 different locations in the U.S. Right now, and always trying to grow. So check out Bunker Labs. You're also going to want to, if you're a woman veteran, you're going to want to utilize a program called Veteran Women Igniting the Spirit of Entrepreneurship, or VWISE for short. It's out of the Institute of Veterans and Military Families. Now, VWISE is just for women veterans. It's a cohort class that happens a couple times a year, and it teaches specifically how to build a business for women veterans, and it's a phenomenal program. You have to. Institute of Veterans and Military Families is one of the cornerstones of entrepreneurship around the country. And I'm not just saying that because I go to Syracuse University, but it's true. So check that out if you're a woman veteran. If you're out in Southern California, I wanted to put these next 2 resources down. There's Veterans Legal Institute, which helps provide free legal services to service members and veterans. And they can also help with claims, disability claims, and things of that nature. So though it's localized in Southern California, you can actually reach out to them, and they might be able to provide you additional law offices around the country that might provide pro bono services, because there is a pro bono lawyer network out there. The list changes over time, so we don't keep the list on there because people can drop off the list and come on. But Veteran Legal Institute, probably the best source to be able to get you the most recent list of legal institutes or legal professionals that will be willing to take on pro bono services in the state that you're in. Okay. Then there's Operation First Response. And they are an organization which actually aids for emergency financial, they provide emergency financial aid to wounded or disabled veterans and their families. They serve all branches of the military, and their services provide from the onset of injuries or illnesses throughout their recovery period, along the whole military life to the civilian world. Financial aid will vary based on different cases, individual needs like rent, utilities, vehicle payments, groceries, clothing, and travel expenses. And they're an online nationwide resource. Now, like I said about Veterans Legal Institute being in Southern California, you also have the Emory Law Volunteer Clinic for the veteran community out in Atlanta, Georgia, which is another great program. It does the same thing that Veterans Legal Institute does. They also might have that pro bono list of legal legal assistance around the country as well. And they also do claims for services disabled connected disabilities. Then we have Special Forces Association. And the Special Forces Association is a nonprofit 501c19 team that has over 9,700 active members and 85 chapters around the U.S. And what they provide is three funds. The Emergency Relief Fund that provides immediate financial assistance for eligible members, their spouses, children, and even grandchildren in times of natural and unexpected disasters. They provide a scholarship fund, which is an annual education assistance program that provides education scholarships based on merit to children and grandchildren of SFA members. So you have to be a member of the Special Forces Association to get that. And also the Patriot Fund that provides support and assistance to the JFK Special Warfare Center and School, the Special Forces Command, and 7 Special Forces groups and families, primarily through the family readiness groups at the U.S. Special Operations Command. There's another great organization called Project, but it's PRJKT. They work to help assist veterans in making their transition from the military as smooth as possible by giving them the tools necessary to successfully enter the job market. They were featured on Veterans Day on Scott Luton's Supply Chain Now radio. If you haven't checked that out and not following that podcast, you really should, especially if you're into supply chain and logistics. And then a couple of our amazing partners, just to clear this, finish this up, is so I made a mistake during my transition of not getting civilian life insurance before I got out the military or before I started my actual disability claim. This is huge, y'all. If you didn't get civilian life insurance before you filed your disability claim, it makes it very difficult when you get out and very expensive when you try to get civilian life insurance. There's an organization that we've partnered with, that Vest Institute partnered with, that I trust immensely and I'm using personally, called AFMA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. Now, it's the first life insurance company that was actually founded, or first and only, by the military itself during Little Bighorn's, or right after Little Bighorn's, Custer's last stand. And it was made by the War Department, which is really cool because there was no survivors left after that. So how could they actually assist those coming up? So AFMA was created by the military, and it's got tons of history with the military community, military leadership running it. Along with some of my mentors work for AFMA now, and they're super trustworthy. And then last thing I want to tell you all about is VTC tax credit. All right. Victor Tango Charlie tax credit. Now reach out to them because each one of you, when you get out, gets the ability to earn your company at the time of getting hired. You can't do it after you've been hired. The paperwork has to go in when you're getting hired in that paperwork. $5,600 to $9,600. All right, it's a tax credit that your employer receives, which is a great incentive for them to want to hire you because of this tax credit. It almost pays for part of your onboarding. So make sure you talk to them. If you're a disabled veteran, you really want to tell them about this because you're at the higher level of the 9,600 tax credit. And a lot of companies don't know that they are even eligible for this. So, if they knew that they were going to get $9,600 from the government in a tax credit for the end of the year, just by hiring you, they'll probably look for more service members as well to hire from. So I know that was a lot. Hopefully we still have some time, but thank you.
No, I appreciate it, brother. And we're actually out of time, but thank you for your service. And thank you for everything that you've done, man, and everything that you're doing with our with the veterans out there. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, there's so many resources out there, y'all. So just trying to give you a little dabble of it.
No, there's a lot, and I recommend everybody link up with you on it. So,
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Brian.
I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. Hey, we are out of time, overtime, and we have another call coming up. We've got we got next week or in 2 weeks.
Well, 2 weeks. Yeah.
So
I what I was going to say is I think maybe next week this is the episode we got to re-air.
yeah, we can definitely re-air this one.
Absolutely.
There were so many nuggets so people can re-listen to it and all the things out there. So a lot of things out there. We'll have to have Brian on there. We didn't get to ask him the freedom means question because we ran out of time. But
We'll get him back on for part 2. We have to.
Well, maybe we'll have him and Eric on at the same time. Let him bounce the football. But appreciate it. And again, everybody, have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We won't see you until January 5th.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show on E360 TV, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF 214. Till next time.